Good evening, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV. We want to give you a live update on this story that originally happened earlier today, although it became, to me, an even bigger story later this afternoon, several hours ago. And that is an arson attack on the residence of the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, while him and his family were there. And when this story first came out this morning, on Sunday morning, it seemed like some sort of fire had been caused on the property. I didn't know if somebody had maybe thrown something at the property. But then this afternoon, it came out that a person who did this, who the suspect, who is now under arrest, actually got inside the residence. He was inside the governor's residence, which is crazy to me. So we want to give you an update on this story. And sorry, I would have come on a little bit earlier for this, but I wasn't able to get on the air until now. So I wanted to do some coverage of this. I think it's an important story. And we'll take some comments from you guys and get you the latest here. Also, I have some photos of some damage from there that I wanted to show you. And we'll do a stream. And no, I am still in Lima, Peru, where I've been for a little while. Still here for a little while longer, just visiting Lima, Peru, great city. So I'm not using my normal setup to do the broadcast. So I apologize for any kind of technical issues. And tomorrow morning, we will be covering, bright and early, the Blue Origin space launch, where Katy Perry and Gayle King and Jeff Bezos' partner, Lauren Sanchez, and 3 other women are going to space on a Blue Origin rocket. And that is in the morning. I think the launch time is scheduled for around 9:30 Eastern time. So we will be covering that bright and early, live tomorrow morning, if you have any interest in that. That's really happening. That is really happening. Anyways, but for now, let's get started talking about this. By the way, I do want to thank our moderator. I know we're starting kind of late tonight. I do want to thank our moderators. We have Sabrina is moderating right now. Thank you so much, Sabrina, over there on YouTube. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Linda Belk, Larry, Misha over on X. Let me thank our Twitch moderators too. We have moderating right now Sarah. Thanks, Sarah, for moderating. And we have... Hang on a moment. Thanks to our Facebook moderators as well. I really appreciate it. Margaret Riley, Paul Anderson, thank you for being here. Kay Lowry Body. Thanks to all of our moderators. And hey, thanks to... hang on a moment here. Thanks to our new member, Jenny Quant. Jenny Quant, thanks for being a new member. All right, so I'm going to show you, there was a press conference on this afternoon. I'm going to show you the press conference. But first, I want to kind of go over some of this, take some of your comments about it, then we'll show you the press conference on it. If I hear anything new while I'm on the air, I will certainly let you know. But again, the guy got into the governor's residence, which is just like, wow to me. All right, here, let me show you this. Hang on a moment. Oops, right? Oh, I see what's going on. Right there. We got it. Suspect arrested in arson fire that forced Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro and family to flee residence. Wow, hold on one second here. They were actually in the house, him and his family. This is an AP story. We'll show you the press conference in a second. A man scaled an iron security fence in the middle of the night. How did this happen? eluded police and broke into the Pennsylvania governor's mansion, where he set a fire that left significant damage and forced Governor Shapiro, his family, and guests to evacuate the building, authorities said. Our viewer B. Earhart says, glad all is okay. This was in Harrisburg. Our viewer Beatsnack says, scary stuff. The man captured later in the day will face charges of attempted murder, terrorism, aggravated arson, and aggravated assault, authorities said. Shapiro said, and again, we're going to play you the press conference shortly. Shapiro said he and his wife, their 4 children, 2 dogs, and other family had celebrated the Jewish holiday of Passover at the residence on Saturday and were awakened by state troopers pounding on their doors about 2 a.m. Sunday, this morning. They fled and firefighters extinguished the fire, officials said. No one was injured. The man in custody is Cody Balmer, 38, of Harrisburg. I'm going to show you some pictures now of some of the damage. Pam Turner says, this is sad. Dave, I'm trying to go back here and read the comment here. Dave KPG HPA, if I'm reading that right, it's kind of small on my screen, says unbelievable literally. Sarah, yes, he was under consideration to be Harris's vice presidential candidate. She ultimately did not pick him. Karen Roman says, I want to know, how did he get into the house, door or window? All right, let me show you guys some of these photos here from AP of the damage. That's not it. Let's try this again. Let's try this again. Here we go. All right, I'm going to pull these photos up here and show them to you. These are AP photos. Let's see if this works. There's a photo of the governor's residence. I wonder if I can find a before pic, a nice before pic to show you. Hold on. Here, I have it. This is from Wikipedia. Pennsylvania Governor's residence. Harrisburg. So that's what it normally looks like. That's a photo from Niagara on Wikipedia. That's what it looks like. Okay, now that being said, let's show you some of these photos. Now that must be a different door, because that's not the front, that's not the door we see right in the front there. Can I even see where that is? Is there another picture on Wikipedia? It's the one I see. All right, anyways, we'll keep looking. That is, hold on, you'll see in a second. There's one picture right there. We're going to show you some more. Has he stated why he did it? I haven't read that, anything about it yet, but let me see. I'll get you the latest on that. Hold on. Here, let's show you some more of these photos. Where is this window is too big, and therefore I can't show you the photos. There we go. There's another one coming up right now. Watch. Spicy Road says probably a Molotov cocktail. Badcast says, how is there no security gate? Apparently he climbed over a gate. Kota says, new Luigi. Oh, sorry. Now, Indica Love says there's some reporting about maybe what he was upset about. I don't know. I have to check some different reporting, so I'll show you. We'll get updated that. Another picture there. Here's another photo. You know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering if I use Google Maps and I go to the Pennsylvania governor's residence. There it is. And I do this. Hold on. The language, because I'm in Peru, the language is in Spanish. But what I want to do is get the, where is the, what I really need is, where is the type of map? Why can't I find that? Why can't I find that? Where did it go? This is so weird. What's happening? Where's the, am I even on? No, I'm not on Google Maps. Am I on Google Maps? I did it. Sorry. We got that done. I think. Okay. Pennsylvania governor's residence. Here we go. Aha. Oh, no. Is it not 3D? I don't think they have a 3D photo of it. I was hoping they had a 3D photo of it. But I think it's not 3D there, from what I can tell. The other wing is somehow I've ended up on, do I have a different, I'll show this to you in a second. Maybe if I use my link, I won't be in, okay, that might be better. I was somehow in Peru Google Maps. Let's see if this helps. Let's see if this helps now. Okay, there's that, there's that. Oh, I got 3D now. Okay, here we go. So, here is the Pennsylvania governor's residence from Google Maps, okay? Hang on. Try to show you this if I can. I know this is taking a second, I'm sorry, but hopefully this will work now. Okay, there is, now why can't you see? Okay, hold on. This whole weird thing. I'm doing this weird way. Okay. So, I was trying to find where the door is that had damage. So it's not, I don't think it's that one. I'm not seeing obvious, I mean, it's here somewhere, obviously. Anyways, I can't figure, maybe one of you has figured it out. I'll look at the chat. But that's the house. Daniel Wheat, this looks expensive. Anyways, that took too long for me to do that. I'm sorry. I thought that was going to be sooner. It's things take a little while, sometimes longer, because I'm not in my normal studio. All right, here again are some of the damage pictures from the house there. Hang on, that's not a damage picture. You'll see, you'll see in a second. Hold on. I think that might be the fence coming up right there. There is a fence there. Here, look at that. These are like, look at this. Look at this damage. Look at all the plates. Then you have that. Hold on, I'll show you. These are from the AP article, these photos. And again, the person got inside the house. Look at this. Here, look at this photo. This is a photo from inside the house. The piano looks like it's destroyed. Then there's a bunch of tables with chairs back there. They call me Taj says, where was security? All right. So I was showing you those to give you a sense. You know, there's other photos floating around, and I'll post a link to them. I saw them as being listed as there were photos that have been going around that said courtesy of Pennsylvania State Police, but I haven't found those photos myself from the Pennsylvania State Police. If I can, I emailed them, but I haven't. I'll post a link to them, but I don't have the right to show them unless I really know it's from them. But those are even more graphic in terms of showing you the damage. So I just posted a link in the chat. Philip Lewis had posted a link to them. And you can look at those. But I'm sorry I don't have those for you. I'd like to have them for you, but I got to see if I can get, if the police will say those are ours. All right. Let's talk some more. I'm also going to check some of the local reporting tonight and see if there's any updates recently from the local reporting. So we'll do that as well. Oops, you're right, coming up right here. By the way, a quick thank you to Josh H., who thinks the right wing did this. You know, I have to look into, I haven't had much time to look into the person's whole background. I haven't, so I don't really want to start talking about that myself when I don't have a good sense of it. But I would be wary of drawing conclusions before we have the facts. Thank you, Josh H. Luke Hancher says, as anti-Semitism the motive for the attack? Again, I will show you and look at some of the latest reporting on that. B. Blake says, just horrible. Police say suspect hopped security fence and forcibly entered residence. This is incredible. This is really incredible. Authorities said the suspect hopped over a nearly 7-foot-high iron security fence surrounding the property, eluded officers who became aware of the breach, and forcibly entered the residence before setting it on fire. Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens says Balmer had a homemade incendiary device. He would not describe what kind and appeared to have carefully planned the attack. He was inside the residence for about a minute before he escaped. He was inside the residence for a minute and then he escaped. Bivens said Balmer was later arrested in the area. Authorities did not say whether Balmer has a lawyer or where he was being held, and calls to people believed to be his relatives went unanswered or unreturned. One recent listed residence in Harrisburg was condemned in 2022. Balmer has faced criminal charges over the past decade, including simple assault, theft, and forgery, according to online criminal court records. By the way, Josh Shapiro said today, we don't know the specific motive yet. He did say that. The fire badly damaged the inside of the large room that is often used for entertaining crowds and art displays. Large west and south-facing windows were completely missing their glass panes. Shattered glass littered the pathways, and doors stood ajar amid signs of charring. Window panes and brick around doors and windows were blackened and charred. Inside, a charred piano, tables, walls, metal buffet serving dishes, and more could be seen through broken windows and fire-blackened doors. By the way, Shapiro splits his time between the mansion that is housed governors since it was built in the 1960s and a home in Abington about 100 miles east. He had posted a photograph on Saturday on social media of the family's Passover Seder table at the residence. Wow. So the person, he got in, he was there for around a minute, and then he escaped after lighting a fire. Yes, Mudmore says this is the place maintained for the governor to use. Yes, governors have been living there, I guess, since the 60s, it said. Fermi Paradox says, able to leap tall fences with a single bound. Lego Mike says, I think the motive was to burn it down. They call me Taj says, they probably saw how he started the fire and were trying to evacuate the governor, but still that's bad. John 1948 says, well rehearsed by the sound of it. Thomas Darwin says, get new security. All right, what I think we should do is, I think, now some of you may have seen this, but for those who haven't seen it, there was a press conference on this that I think we should show you this afternoon. Again, the timeline of this is, I was aware of this story this morning, but when I heard about it this morning, it was just something like there was some sort of fire at the governor's residence. And it sounded to me like maybe somebody had like thrown something at the residence and set it on fire or something, which was bad. But then this afternoon, the news came out that this guy in custody actually got inside the residence, which is a whole other thing to me. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to get on the air until now, but I did think it's an important story, so I wanted to cover it and give an update. How did they know it was him? That I don't know. Our viewer just asked that. But I haven't even watched this press conference, most of it. So I think we should check this out. And also, Mike J says pictures. There were no pictures of the damage. That's another part of this. This is significant damage. I mean, here's one of the pictures. I'll put it up right now. But that was another thing where I was like, wow, this is worth. When I first heard of the story, I thought, okay, maybe there was a little damage like on the front door or something like that. But this is like quite significant damage. There you see a piano which looks like it's been destroyed. So that was another thing which was like, okay, this is a bigger thing than I thought it was. Adiz says, need an electric fence. Hey, thanks PZ Papa Zulu, who says, hopefully this will draw attention to the Teslas in dealerships being damaged. PZ Papa Zulu thinks the suspect did a bunch of planning. Thank you, PZ Papa Zulu, for your support. I really appreciate that. Also, I want to just again thank our moderators who are here for our late night coverage here. Sabrina is over there, Linda Belk, Larry, Misha, over there on Twitch, Sarah. Also, thanks to Smelly Cat for your support on Twitch. Also, thanks to Stunned in the North for subscribing on Twitch, and Notorious Rob and Redefine Happiness for subscribing on Twitch. It's very nice of you. Also, thanks to Margaret Riley and Paul Anderson for modding over there on Facebook. I appreciate it. So, and wow, Marcel Kern. Hey, that's really kind of you, Marcel. Marcel just gave 20 people memberships. Make sure you thank Marcel if he gave you a membership. That's super nice of you, Marcel, in the YouTube chat. All right, so let's, and as a reminder, tomorrow morning, Monday morning, I will be covering bright and early the space launch where, I'm not kidding, Katy Perry, Gayle King, Jeff Bezos' partner, Lauren Sanchez, and 3 other women are going to space on a Blue Origin rocket. I'm not making that up. The scheduled launch time is roughly 9:30 Eastern. So I will be coming on there before then, sometime before then, maybe 8:30 Eastern. And we're going to cover that. It's really happening. I'm not making this up. That is really happening. I will have coverage in the morning. Just a heads up. Okay, now let us check out this. Okay, so this is, you're gonna see it pop up on the screen in a second. This is the press conference from today, which I'm gonna play you right now. I haven't even really listened to this, so I'm interested in hearing this. And this is Governor Shapiro's, that's the residence. You can see the window behind him. He's at his residence there. That's the window behind him on the left that's been just damaged, showing damage. And now, just a heads up, this video comes in about like 10 seconds late. So I think the first thing you're going to hear him say is like 2 in the morning. But basically, this is right at the start. I checked. This is right at the start of the press conference. You're just missing him saying like, "Good afternoon, everyone." So basically, when he starts talking, he'll be saying like, I was awakened at 2 in the morning. That's the first thing he says. I think that got cut off here. And the other thing I want to do is put up on the screen for you. Hold on. Should pop up there in a second, I hope. There we go. Okay, let's hear what the press conference earlier today had to say. This was in the afternoon.
2 o'clock in the morning, while my family and I were asleep upstairs here at the governor's residence, one of the state troopers assigned to our detail banged on our door, woke us up and told us we had an emergency and needed to leave immediately. Together, we secured all of our children, our 2 dogs, our family that was staying with us, and the troopers safely evacuated us from the governor's residence. Last night, we experienced an attack not just on our family, but on the entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania here at the governor's residence. I want to thank the Pennsylvania State Police for safely evacuating our family, for their bravery last evening, and for their careful leadership of this investigation. I want to thank Harrisburg Fire and their chief, who was personally on the scene and spent time with me and my family last night. He and the other firefighters from Harrisburg ran toward danger to help keep us safe and quickly putting out the fire. I want to thank the Capitol Police for assisting the Pennsylvania State Police last night in ensuring everything was orderly. I want to thank the FBI and our federal partners for their assistance. I spoke a couple hours ago with Director Kash Patel of the FBI. He promised all of the resources of the federal government. He was extremely kind and courteous and thoughtful in his conversation with me. And I thanked him and the women and men of the FBI and the President of the United States for their support. I especially want to thank your local district attorney, Fran Chardo. Fran is someone I've known for 20 years in public service, an outstanding leader in law enforcement. You'll hear from him in a few moments. Lori and I are overwhelmed by the prayers and the messages of support that we've received from all across Pennsylvania and all across the United States. We've heard from our fellow governors and first spouses. We've heard from several of the former governors of Pennsylvania. We've heard from so many friends and loved ones. And we've heard from so many caring citizens of this great Commonwealth. I want you all to know that your prayers lift us up. And in this moment of darkness, we are choosing to see light. And we appreciate the light that you have shined upon us. Pennsylvania State Police, led by Colonel Christopher Parris, will brief on the specifics of what transpired. But we do know that this attack was targeted. We don't know the person's specific motive yet, but we do know a few truths. First, this type of violence is not okay. This kind of violence is becoming far too common in our society. And I don't give a damn if it's coming from one particular side or the other, directed at one particular party or another, or one particular person or another. It is not okay. And it has to stop. We have to be better than this. And we have a responsibility to all be better. Second, if this individual was trying to deter me from doing my job as your governor, rest assured I will find a way to work even harder than I was just yesterday for the good people of Pennsylvania. Here's a third truth. If he was trying to terrorize our family, our friends, the Jewish community who joined us for a Passover Seder in that room last night, hear me on this. We celebrated our faith last night proudly, and in a few hours we will celebrate our second Seder of Passover again proudly. No one will deter me or my family or any Pennsylvanian from celebrating their faith openly and proudly. I am grateful to the good people of Pennsylvania for giving me the honor to serve as their 48th governor. I will continue to pour every ounce of my being into this work. I'm going to do my best to be your governor, and right now to be a good husband and father to my family, who are obviously traumatized by what occurred here last night. We are grateful to law enforcement for helping ease some of that trauma thanks to their outstanding work. They were here within seconds, and they did an extraordinary job. Local, state, and federal law enforcement partners. I now want to bring up the Colonel of the Pennsylvania State Police to give you some specifics on the investigation, followed by our District Attorney, Fran Chardo, and then we'll do our best to take a few questions.
Thank you, Governor. I'd like to begin by saying, on behalf of not only the Pennsylvania State Police, but all of our partners, federal to municipal, that our hearts and prayers are with you and your family during this very trying 14-plus hours. I'd like to start off by preemptively offering that this is still very early in a very active and dynamic investigation. And I can tell you that we're pursuing any and all leads. We have processed the crime scene and released it just recently. You will see imminently how large and complex of a scene that it is. Physical evidence has been gathered and is in the process of being forensically analyzed, both at the State Police Crime Laboratories and also the Cumberland County Crime Laboratory, and I'd like to mention them specifically. As the governor stated, the work done by Harrisburg Fire Department was absolutely instrumental in preventing any loss of life last evening. To acknowledge again the Harrisburg Police and the major case team that the state police was able to put together. So to pause for a moment, that was comprised of and remains comprised of the Harrisburg Police Department, the Capitol Police, our partners from the FBI. I received multiple calls from the FBI SAC of Philadelphia, who happens to be out of country, and yet he took the time to call, as well as his assistant special agents in charge, who are not only here with us, but we've spoken to throughout this incident. I received a call personally from the Attorney General with an offer of any and all support. Received a call personally from the U.S. Attorney acting for the Middle District of Pennsylvania, John Greganis, offering any and all support of the U.S. Attorney's Office. And as the governor said, who you will hear from shortly, the Dauphin County District Attorney, Fran Chardo. So I can confirm at this point, as we put out already, we are conducting an arson investigation, and we are conducting an attempted homicide and aggravated arson investigation. That is the paradigm that we've operated in. A lot of the investigative tasks have focused on the who up until this point. Obviously, we're trying to piece together very early on the exact sequence of events. We were late in coming out here because we were getting rapid information as it was occurring, and I'm pleased to announce that we do have an individual in custody. His name is Cody Balmer, B-A-L-M-E-R, age 38, with a Harrisburg post office address. In terms of the sequence of events, because of the thrust of the investigation concentrating on the who, I want to be very deliberate in my comments as to the how and exactly the time frame. What I do feel confident in saying at this point is that we don't anticipate any charges for conspiracy, but again, I'd reiterate my qualifier that I mentioned earlier, that we are still very much inside the first 24 hours. But at this point, we do not anticipate that. Likewise, the quick action of the members of the governor's detail, not only his immediate family, but some extended family members who were here, you will see from the physical plant behind me how grave the situation was. And when this occurred, I will tell you, again, the exact sequence of events. We will conduct a full review, but I feel very confident in telling you that it occurred over an extremely brief period of time, several minutes. And the quick action of those troopers last night immediately shifted to the safety of the governor and his family and his extended family. So we will certainly take a look and have a full, competent, and thorough investigation, but our hats are off to the quick action of all the first responders, not just within the state police, but as the governor said, Harrisburg Fire Department, who was instrumental in getting here quickly and getting the fire knocked down. We have kept tabs on the governor all day and will continue to do so. And at this point, I'd like to turn it over to District Attorney Fran Chardo. Thank you.
We have, as the Colonel indicated, Cody Balmer is in custody. We are preparing a criminal complaint to charge him. This is not a record yet, but the charges will include attempted murder, terrorism, aggravated arson, and aggravated assault against an enumerated person. These are all very serious charges. As with any charges, the defendant is presumed innocent. We will file those charges within the next several hours, and we will include a probable cause affidavit which will detail the basis for this arrest. I can't give you a lot of details because it won't be of record. I can only give you the charges, but the criminal complaint and the affidavit will detail that further this very day. I want to commend the Pennsylvania State Police, the Capitol Police, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the other agencies that conducted this investigation. I was here this afternoon and witnessed the remarkable efforts. They did a great job in bringing this to a swift conclusion. And I'll tell you that they do this in every case that I work with them on, not just cases involving the governor in every case. We are blessed to have great law enforcement agencies that work diligently in cases involving serious violence. As I say, we're going to file that criminal complaint shortly, and you will have that complaint will speak for itself, along with there'll be a booking photograph that will be available later today, but we don't have that yet available, and we're glad to take any questions you might have.
Governor, I think everyone's pleased that you and your family are okay.
Thank you.
I want to ask, when you're hearing those charges, though, knowing that someone tried to, at the very least, seriously injure or kill you and your family, are you, reflecting today on that, and just can you talk about your emotions there?
Honestly, I just right now want to be a good father and a good husband and take care of my family. Thank you.
District Attorney, is there anything you can tell us right now about how Mr. Balmer accessed the property and how he left the property?
Well, it's going to speak for itself. I mean, he entered it surreptitiously, and he not far from here. He came over a fence. I will tell you that. And he was able to. He acted very surreptitiously, and then he forcibly entered, and then he set the fire.
Do you know if he's going to face federal charges?
Well, so we have the FBI involved. There'll be a review of that by the U.S. Attorney, and a decision will be made. He may face both. They're separate sovereigns, and we're going to pursue, make a decision on that. It may be both, but we always look at to determine where we can get the best justice.
Right, what did Balmer say about his reasoning? I mean, you guys, he's in custody. What does he say?
So I think that we'll let the probable cause affidavit speak for that for itself.
Mr. Governor, do you think that this could have been a hate crime or politically motivated?
I think that's a question for the federal government or for the district attorney. It's not something I'm prepared to answer.
Is the break in the fence over there, the patch up, is that where he came in, and was the fence damaged because of him?
Yes, I will. I'll turn it over to Lieutenant Colonel Bivens at this point. That was the point of ingress. And as I said, we will be conducting a multifaceted review in terms of security measures and the exact timeline of how it happened. But I do feel very confident in saying that certain steps of due diligence were taken by our people. And, we are in their debt for getting the governor and his family immediate and extended out of the house. When you see the physical plant behind me, it will be readily apparent how grave the situation was.
How did this happen?
One second, I'll turn it over to Lieutenant Colonel Bivens. Stand by.
So this individual came over a fence and right behind where all of you are standing right now. He actively evaded troopers who were here to secure the residence, even while they were searching for him on the property. While they were searching is when he attacked at the residence, broke in and set the fires. So that was all playing out over a period of several minutes. It was a very quick event that occurred, and again, troopers were actively searching for him at the time.
What did he use to start the fire?
He had some homemade incendiary devices.
Molotov cocktail.
I'm not going to provide a lot more detail on that right now. A lot of material has been collected and is being analyzed, but I think a homemade device describes it for right now.
So state police didn't know he was on the property before he started the fire?
We knew that there had been a breach on the property, and we were searching to determine what had occurred, why there was a breach.
Will there be an increased security presence around the governor's mansion, and will the FBI remain on site? Can you talk a little bit about what's going to go on?
So there is already a security review underway to determine how we can ensure that we don't have a repeat of a situation like this. We look at all aspects, personnel, technical surveillance equipment, security equipment. All of that will be reviewed, and we will do our best to ensure that the governor and his family are safe in this residence.
Did he make it into the residence itself, or was this something thrown through the window?
He did make it into the residence.
And then how did he get off the property, and where was he apprehended?
He exited the property the same way he came on, back over the fence. He was apprehended in the Harrisburg area a short time ago.
Governor, you talked about resilience, especially in light of Passover. And do you feel like being able to come back and say, we're not going to stop celebrating this, especially in the light motivation, whatever it was that happened here? Do you think it's important to show not just Pennsylvania, but the whole country, you're not going to be fearful?
I'm not fearful. I'm obviously emotional. I'm worried about my family. I want my kids to be okay. When we were in the state dining room last night, gathered with the community and family and friends, we told the story of Passover, and it's a story of going from bondage, from slavery, into freedom. I think it's an important story, both literally and figuratively, to tell. And I refuse to be trapped by the bondage that someone attempts to put on me by attacking us as they did here last night. I refuse to let anyone who had evil intentions like that stop me from doing the work that I love, stop me from being a leader of this Commonwealth and looking out for all Pennsylvanians. I will not be deterred in my work, and I will not be afraid to do that work.
Governor, who all was in the house at the time, and how is your family feeling right now?
I'm not going to get into my family and who was in the house. I will tell you that obviously, when you get woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning with a banging on the door from brave Pennsylvania State Police telling you have to immediately evacuate, that's jarring, especially for children. They're doing okay now. They're all together. And as I said, shortly here, we're going to celebrate our second Seder together. We're going to have more family time. And I trust that Laura and I will make sure our kids get through this well and listen to them, be there for their emotional needs, be there for their mental health support, our mental health support, and making sure that everybody is able to get through this and continue on with our lives. Me doing the important work I'm doing, my wife, our First Lady, doing the important work they're doing, and our kids being normal kids doing what they do.
Governor, was there any question from a security standpoint, any discussion?
I'm sorry, I just didn't hear the beginning of your
Governor,
question.
any question from a security standpoint, any discussions about having you come back to the scene so soon? And was this something you wanted to do?
I'm not going to get into my security. I've total confidence in the Pennsylvania State Police to keep us safe.
As far as the suspect in custody goes, where are we at right now in terms of warrants for the residents or speaking to family members associated with the suspect? How is that going to play out now that all the federal agencies are involved along with the state?
So there are currently searches underway, some with consent, warrants where necessary. That will play out through the remainder of the evening, no doubt, and beyond if necessary. All of that information and evidence will be collected and worked through the district attorney's office. A decision at some point in the future, as the DA said, will be made whether there is anything that rises to the level of a separate federal prosecution. But for right now, we're operating all under state rules of evidence and procedures and collecting what we need for the state charges.
We got time for just a couple more questions here.
Did the suspect seem like he knew the layout of the mansion area and like where he planted the homemade devices was very intentional?
I don't know that we can yet fully characterize how much he knew. That's all part of the ongoing investigation in terms of the layout. I will tell you that he clearly had a plan. He was very methodical in his approach and moved through it without a lot of hurry, again, in a very methodical, planned manner, and carried it out, although in a very short period of time. When I said that he was in the residence, he was inside for less than a minute. It all happened very quickly, and he was back out.
How long was he on the property before that?
That's all part of the investigation. We do have an idea because we know when we were alerted to the breach. It was a number of minutes, but again, all of that is part of the ongoing review as to where he was and how that time was spent on the property.
Let me just say one last thing, and we're going to wrap this up. Lori and I and the kids just feel so honored to have the privilege the good people of Pennsylvania have given us to be able to live in this house. This house functions as a welcoming place for Pennsylvanians to come and to learn and to celebrate and to be together. And that is a direct result of the extraordinary work that the staff does here at the governor's residence, led by Claire Ramsey. I want to just say they are traumatized by this as well. Lori and I spoke to them earlier today to let them know that they're part of our family as we are theirs. Many of them have been here through multiple administrations, some as long as 2 decades. And we want them to know how much they are appreciated. If you've ever come here on a tour or you've been privileged to be here for an event, it's a wonderful member of the governor's residence staff who greets you, who cares for you, who feeds you, and who makes sure that you enjoy your visit. And I just want to say a special thanks to them. They're going through a lot right now. They know that Laura and I have their backs, and it's going to take some time for them to work through this as well. But I told them we'll clean this up, we'll get it repaired, we'll get it rebuilt, we'll get rid of that smell of fire and smoke, and we'll be back very soon, and we'll be back to welcome the community into this residence with the smiles and the warmth of the people that make up this staff. So I want to thank all of you for your sensitivity here. For those who are celebrating Passover, I wish you a happy Passover. I know some are observing Palm Sunday and getting ready for Easter. I want to wish you the very best as well. I want to thank you for being here this afternoon.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, that was the press conference. And you know, right as that was ending, so we got to talk about that. Right as that was ending, I might have found photos of the damage that I can show you. So let me just check this out for a second. Hang on. Yeah, I mean, this is a Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. This is a state website. This is a state website, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, an official government website. I just got there's a bunch of photos here of the damage, which I'm going to show you in a second, from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania website I found. I hadn't, I'd seen a few of them, but I haven't been, I wanted to be able to show them on the air. These are really striking. By the way, so speaking of striking, also, as you just heard, this person he scaled the fence, right? And then security knew there had been a breach. They were looking for him. And while they were looking for him, he got inside the residence and then lit the fire in there with one or more homemade incendiary devices, and then left and escaped the same way he came in, I guess by getting over the fence again. And then I think he was arrested. I mean, this happened about 2 a.m, and this press conference was this afternoon, so roughly 12 hours later, it sounded like. Wow. I'm going to take some comments from you guys. I want to say a quick thanks to PZ Papa Zulu. Thank you, PZ Papa Zulu, for your support. Also, I owe a thank you to, I'm going to show you these pictures too. Medallion N105, thanks for being a member. Also, David Bozick, who thinks you're going to start seeing more of these instances. I hope not. Thank you, The Gribble. Yes, they have a suspect in custody. Thanks also, Don Coven, our new member, and Cherry Cola, our member. Okay, I want to get these photos on the screen for you. Thanks. Hold on one moment here. By the way, what we don't have, it was interesting, in that briefing, the local district attorney, I believe it was, or the AG, one of the two, said, I think it was the local district attorney, said that there would be a charging document or a criminal complaint or a charging document, one of these, maybe the criminal complaint, but there would be some official document. I think the document they used to get an arrest warrant And that's supposed to have a bunch of more information in it, but I have yet to see that. He suggested in the press conference that it was going to be out tonight, and these things get delayed, but I've not seen that anywhere. So it sounds like that's the document which should have more detail on how this all happened. But as far as I'm aware, it has not been. I have not seen a report of it anywhere. He also said there was going to be a booking photo. I've not seen a booking photo, so that hasn't happened yet. Criminal complaint? Did he say? Celeste said. All right. Let me show you these photos, guys. Let me show you these photos. And again, these are from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. PA Cast website, which says an official Pennsylvania government website. So as far as I'm aware, these are official government photos. They're really actually striking photographs. So let me just throw these up on the screen for you if you give me 2 seconds here. Hang on. They're really interesting to look at. Wow. Okay, I'm putting it on the screen for you right now. I have not shown these yet on the broadcast. Here is one of them. Whoa. Move it over to the side a little bit so you see it full. There is one of them. So this was not a little fire. One of our viewers says, looks like something out of Silent Hill. Now, the whole home hasn't been destroyed, but certainly that part of it has been significantly damaged. One of our viewers said, could have been worse too. Linda Gordon said this guy was serious. All right, let me show you another one. That's one of them, though. You know what I'll do? Maybe I'll make it a little bigger here. If I do it like that, it's a little bigger for you. Crazy. All right, that's just one of them. Let me show you another one. Wow, these are incredible. Hold on. You'll see it on the screen in a second. Here's another one. You know, I mentioned I first heard of this story this morning. And when I had heard of the story, it was not known publicly that the guy had gotten in the house. And it didn't sound like, I mean, it just sounded like maybe there was like a fire at the door or something. But, I mean, that's not what happened. The guy actually got in the house, and you can see the scale of some of this damage. Look at the ceiling. All right, let me show you another photo. Now, why is that? Hold on a second here. Oh, let me take this off the screen. There should be, oh, I see. There, let me move it over a little more. All right, next picture. B. Earhart says 1 minute job. Supposedly he was, I mean, whatever he did, supposedly he wasn't in there very long, but he caused a lot of damage. All right, here's another one. Here is another photo. Look at this. Again, these are from the Commonwealth, PA Cast, a Commonwealth of Pennsylvania official government website. Cannon Lee says the restoration will cost a fortune. The first photo had a barbecue grill on the floor. Douthis says that's why he said people take tours. This is the people's house. Hold on. The first one, I'm looking at the first one right now. I'll show you in a second. There's a barbecue grill on the floor? I don't see it. I mean, maybe I'm just missing it. I'm not going to worry about it. Let me get to another photo. Let me get to a new photo. Another viewer says, that's not a grill. I'll let you guys argue about that. Here is another photo. Here's another one. This looks kind of similar to the first one, but it is a different one. There's the piano right there. All right, let's see what else. Is that a couch? This is like a couch, isn't it, right here? On the right? Was a couch? All right, hold on. Have we seen this one yet? This is just a different angle. Oops, sorry. One of our viewers says, poor mansion. Elcock says, tragic, significant damage. Thanks, TFB. Let's see what else we got here. Hold on. Oh, okay. These are interesting. These are some more close-up ones. All right, hang on. Look at this. Got some close-up damage photos. And to repeat, according to the authorities, the guy got over a fence, and when he got over the fence, the security started looking for him. And while they were looking for him, he made it inside the house and then started this fire. And then he escaped the house and got out the way he got in. I guess that means he went over the fence again. And then he was arrested hours later. Oh, look at that. Wow. So that's a couch on the right, right? These are really crazy pictures. I hadn't seen some of these before. AR1 says whatever he used was highly flammable to cause that much damage in that little amount of time, along with the water damage. Billy Joe says it's wild that they knew he got in and he was able to get out. Well, yeah, they knew he had gotten over the fence, it sounded like. By the way, a quick thanks to hold on. Ursula Anderson. Thank you, Ursula, for being a member, our new member. Let's keep going here. Yeah, these are, look at this. So you can see it looks like a security pad, like some kind of keypad on the wall. Again, these are pictures from this Pennsylvania government website. Now, I know nothing about fires, so I don't know. I can't look at this and say, this is how he did it or whatever. I mean, apparently he wasn't in there that long, was able to start something that really did a lot of damage. Look at I have not seen this picture before. Watch this. Jerry Kovac says, seems like security cams would be everywhere inside and outside. Benny Hill says, some crazy stuff, those burn marks on the wall off the scale. Jazzy Renee said that had to be pretty bad. Everything is just melted. Some kind of tablecloth, one of our viewers says. Oh, is this like, I don't know if the thing in the middle, is that some kind of grill? I don't know what that is, the black thing. The curtains in the next room are fine. Yeah, as one of our viewers said, looks okay in the next room over. Here's a wider shot. I gotta say something else. I mean, I guess from what I understand, from what I'd read, the governor was in a different part of the house. Is it like, is that part of the house accessible? If that guy knew where the governor was, could he have made it to the governor? You know what I'm saying? And his family? I don't know enough about what the security is like and what the guy knew. But, you know, he did this here. What if he got to the room where the governor was? TJ says they're connected. I don't know how everything is laid out. Oh, that is an overhead shot of some mugs and plates. Raina Hood says no sprinklers. That's a good question. I don't know about that. It's a big U, some people are saying. U-shaped. That is some sort of, that looks like it's I don't know if it's a Seder. It says Yerushalayim. This looks, I don't know if that's looks like maybe some kind of, what do they call that? A transliteration? When you write, it's not in Hebrew, but it almost looks like maybe English writing of the sounds of how you'd say the Hebrew words. I don't know where that's from exactly. How did they catch him if they got away? That's a good question. I don't know. Good job getting into custody. I don't know if this is where they had the Passover Seder in this part of the place. Look at this. What is this? Are those candles? Hey, thank you, Boomer Wow, who says, I agree with attempted murder, but I don't know if getting revenge because the state took your property counts as terrorism. There's no ideology to that. Thanks, Boomer Wow. You know, they say they're going to charge him with terrorism, the authorities. So I don't know what the law is on terrorism in Pennsylvania or this county. I think it's Dauphin County, and what would be required to meet that. So it's a good question. I just don't know enough about the law to say what you... the law is going to say something specific there about what counts as terrorism there. And we also haven't read the criminal complaint, which sounds like it's going to be made public at some point, which would detail why they think the behavior counts as legal terrorism. Are these candles? Is that what it is? Look at this. Looks like a lighter. Yeah, that looks like one of those kind of things you used to, that, you know, you can light wood with it or whatever, light a pilot light or something. Does that like to say light a pilot light? I'm talking about like if certain stoves, you'd use that thing to light the stove. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Passover crafts. Oh, look, help yourself to some kid-friendly Passover crafts. So it does look like maybe this was an area where the Passover thing was going on. Oh, for a BBQ, somebody mentioned that lighter thing. Elvin Magus thinks they put it out pretty quick. Another photo. These are from this PA Cast Pennsylvania State website. They're really interesting, these photos, to see. Look at that lighting on the wall. Is that some kind of tapestry which is just burned? Banana Dose has some crazy photos. Wow. What is this on the right? I don't know what that is. There's that couch on the left. Now, it looks like it's, well, so far it looks like it's, well, actually, you know what? It looks like maybe there's some damage to that rug. Doesn't it look like that green rug there has some damage to it right down here? I don't know for sure. Oh, you're not seeing, yeah, so. I don't know what the thing on the right is, this thing here. Deadly Gus says maybe it's water damage to the rug. Some more plate damage. That is, gosh, what are we looking at there? It's a chandelier, right? I mean, with just the wall damage. One of our viewers says they UV ray says they can't use sprinklers in historic buildings. I have no idea. I don't think we've seen that photo yet. Les Alali says the doors between the rooms could have been closed when the fire started, which would have limited the damage to the other room. That is some sort of electrical fixture you'll see right here, looks like. Anyways, it's quite something. This was obviously some very serious damage. Okay, we've seen that. That's a close up of the couch there. Let me just go through a couple more of these. Okay, that's not nothing. That's fine. That room is fine. Looks like. This is interesting. This one. So this is a different room. It looks like with. I mean, there's a chair knocked over and some stuff on the ground. The guy's house. It's where he lives part of the time. His family was there. I'm just going through some more of these photos here. Let me just see if there's any others I want to show you. But those are pretty wild, those photos. Wow. Wow. Here's another one right here. You'll see it in a second. Carol Thorpe Stanker says this is so very sad. Gamer91 says the house is a lost cause. Well, it's a much bigger house than that one room. So I don't know, how the fixing will go and how that affects the rest of the house and everything. But yes, the suspect is in custody, but there's no word on a motive yet. His name is Cody Balmer. But, it sounds like there might be a criminal complaint released in the coming days. It was supposed to be released today, but we haven't seen it. Maybe the criminal complaint it could have things like what he said to police, if they found writings on him. There could be things in that criminal complaint that we just haven't heard yet that could specify motive stuff. Thank you, Stormbreaker. Was it Stormbreaker Chasing? Stormbreaker Chasing, thank you. Who thinks some of the photos were likely taken by forensic fire experts as part of the investigation to help determine how and where the fire started and spread. Ladybird Lee says, I can't believe someone was able to even get in the house, period. Yeah, I know, one of our viewers said the guy's social media is wild. He's pretty commified. I've seen some quotes supposedly for his social media. I haven't really looked into it myself. I believe there's people talking about the web about stuff. What I would be careful, though, is, sometimes with people's social media, somebody might pull one quote from 3 years ago. Maybe there's other quotes from 4 years ago that sound very different, you know. So I'd be careful of like single quotes that are supposedly from somebody's social media. Sometimes people are just all over the place. So I'm not familiar with it at this point myself. I haven't spent any time really looking into it. But again, if you didn't see it before, that just gives you a sense of some of the damage there. We'll take a few more comments here, but we'll have to see. I wish we had the criminal complaint, because it sounds like there's going to be a bunch of info in there, but we don't have that yet. Also, I have to cover the. I have to get off there soon because I want to get some sleep before I cover the space launch. Don't forget about the space launch, guys. Space launch, it's supposed to be around 9:30 Eastern. Katy Perry, Gayle King, Lauren Sanchez, who is Jeff Bezos' partner, and 3 other women are going to space in a Blue Origin rocket. Blue Origin is owned by Jeff Bezos. No joke, that is happening tomorrow. Well, maybe it's today. Well, Central Time is tomorrow. But that's in it's in just hours. Yeah, it's early. And I'm going to come on the air before it starts. So, here, I just wanted to show this. Some people were mentioning this before. Governor Shapiro had posted on his Facebook page, if I can get this up on the screen. Oops, I know what's going on. That's what he had posted from before. You'll see it come up in a second. Yesterday, Saturday at 5:09 p.m., he posted, "From the Shapiro family's Seder table to yours, happy Passover and Chag Pesach Sameach," which I don't know if that was the room where the fire happened or it might have been right near it. I don't know. But anyways. All right, so let me just check a couple things, but I think I'm going to start wrapping this up. It's kind of late, and I want to get a little rest before the broadcast in the morning. One of our viewers said, "Looks like the same chairs." All right. Anyways, so I'm gonna start wrapping this up. We showed the press conference earlier. We showed you the photos. We gave you an update. Again, it sounds like there's going to be soon some sort of court document coming out which has more information on the exact specifics about what happened. This guy did make it into the governor's house, which is amazing. So good that nobody was hurt. But I really appreciate you guys coming on for this late night stream. I'm glad we were able to cover it, even though I'm sorry I got a bit delayed and didn't come on earlier, but we're able to cover it at least. And if I see significant updates, I'll post about it on my X account, which is @Lookner. If there's some huge update, we can always do another stream. But you can follow me on X, which is @Lookner there, for breaking news updates. And but again, I do appreciate you watching. Thanks for commenting in the chat, those of you who have been posting and letting me read your comments. And I'm glad the governor and his family are okay and that this person is in custody. But I'm sure we'll be learning more about this suspect. That's what it sounds like. But if you like, you can subscribe, follow the channel, Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news without an agenda. And I will be covering that space launch with Katy Perry, Gayle King, and Lauren Sanchez, and 3 other women going to space. And I'll come on the air sometime before 9:30 a.m. I'm going to try to get on the air by 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. I hope. I'm running out of time. I got to get some rest. So subscribe, follow Agenda Free TV. I hope you can join us in the morning for the coverage of that. And Also, turn the notifications on so you can get alerted whenever we go live with breaking news coverage. Could be at any time. We have a free notification system. It works awesome. We do it through Discord. The mods will post the link to the free notifications. But sign up for the notifications if you haven't already. A huge thanks to our moderators for being here late night for this stream. I know Sabrina was over there before. Oh, actually, you know what I'll do is I will post. Can I post it there? Is this going to work? Did that work? I was trying to post the notifications link or the Discord link. Oh, yes, I posted it in the chat. At least in the YouTube chat it got posted. Okay. Thanks so much to our moderators. I know Sabrina was over there moderating on YouTube, Sarah on Twitch, and Matthew Kohai 3, thank you. Thanks also Night Owl for subscribing on Twitch. I appreciate that. We had Margaret Riley, Paul Anderson moderating over there on Facebook. Thank you. And hey, thanks to Michael. Speaking of Facebook, thanks to Michael Clayton and Martha Crawford for subscribing over there. Margaret Riley as well. Robert Rial II, all of our Facebook subscribers, thank you. Michael said, Michael thinks no sprinklers can be used because of the murals on the wall and other antique designs and molding. That's what Michael thinks. Thank you, Michael, by the way. I appreciate you subscribing. Michael also thinks it'll be millions as far as the cost of making replicas of historical artifacts from this fire damage. That's what Michael thinks. Yeah, I don't know the exact nature of the artifacts that were in there. It's a good question. Also, thanks to our Linda Belk, Larry, Misha, all moderating on X. Thank you. And also, another good way to find out when we're going live, at Agenda Free TV on X. If you're on X, follow us over there. I always post when we're going live there. I post updates about the channel at Agenda Free TV. And if you are watching on YouTube, make sure you turn the YouTube notifications on, which is a little weird how you have to do it. But if you're watching on YouTube, the way you can turn the YouTube notifications on is, I'll show you in a second. Hang on 2 seconds here. I promise I'll show you in a second. You need to subscribe on YouTube, and then once you subscribe, you do this. You click the notifications bell, which is here. Can you see my pointer? Yes. You click the notifications bell, and you choose all notifications, which you'll see in a second. Okay. All right. Also, hey, shout out to, thanks PZ Papa Zulu, who says Daily Mail has a picture of the suspect. Thank you. I have seen pictures of him. I do not have the rights to any of those pictures. So I cannot show them because I don't have the rights to them. But there are pictures floating around of him that I've seen. Supposedly they're legit. But I don't have the rights to any of them. So I'm sorry I can't show you any of those. I don't believe there's been any officially released ones. That I'm aware of, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But I don't have any I can show you right now. But thank you, PZ Papa Zulu. Thank you. Thanks also to our Twitch subscribers like Night Owl, Stunned in the North, Notorious Rob, Redefine Happiness, Kitty Tiger, Shaggy, Wall Street, Sarah, Yay for You. Thanks for subscribing over there. Douthis, Devil Doc. All of our other subscribers over there, and our YouTube members like Lift the Veil, Dr. McRib, UV Lightning, TJ Adams, Evelyn in Maine, CAC 813, Bernie C. Is it Slot Lady, I think. Bird Nerd, Samurai Conscious, and Raina Hood, Raven Knight, Marcel Kern. Thanks again, Marcel, for the gift membership as well. Thanks to everybody who donated. That's really nice of you guys. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. If you ever want to donate, you can go to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv. But you are the ones who keep this channel on the air. So I really appreciate your support. Thank you. Very kind of you. PZ Papa Zulu, everybody else. Sarah Whittick Smith, thanks for being a member. Leslie Ladyhawk, Bama fan. And thanks everybody at TJ Adams, and thanks to everybody else for watching. Okay, I got to wrap this up because we're going to be on the air in the morning, bright and early, covering that space launch. Katy Perry Gail King, Lauren Sanchez, and 3 other women going to space on a Blue Origin rocket. 9:30 Eastern Time is the launch. We'll be on before that. So that is it for now. Thanks so much for joining, and we'll see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.